What's going on, my boys? YTDan back again with a brand new video. Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis has just released, and I have been blown away with the new rule set and gameplay. Essentially, it's a very simple system, but it's a new way to play, and I'm going to explain that deeper. But I've also created the Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis AI, so you can now use GPT-5 Thinking to analyze, build, and create Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis decks. We have created a Royal Oppression deck using this technology, and we're gonna look at that deck as we discuss these new features and abilities in this game. And after we discuss all those different things, we're just gonna talk more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis. We're going to talk more about this AI, and we're going to talk about how you can learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Using my ultimate guidebook, Revival of the Duelist, which breaks down and outlines how to play classic Yu-Gi-Oh! And how everything has changed, but also it's perfectly aligned for Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis, because essentially it breaks down the fundamental differences between each deck, each archetype, and how to actually build competitive decks. So between the guide and the AI, you've got to become the ultimate duelist. But we are going to talk more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis as we hop over and take a look at the quick rule set and just review that. So obviously what I truly do love about this format is that it's very simple. There's 4 main rules, which is they have excluded Link and Pendulum monsters. So those cards are no longer allowed. So sorry to your boy Electromite and many other broken cards. They're all just left to the wayside. And it seems to me like Konami is leaning further away from that additional third summon, because Link and Pendulum open up a gate for a third summon. So they wanted to kind of break down the summons down to very simple functionality of normal summon, special summon, 2 summons per turn. If you can push 3, you might start bumping up against these different point values that'll prevent you from playing the card. So let's actually jump into the second category, which is that point value system, right? So instead of the standard forbidden limited list, except for the Link and Pendulum things, you can use a limit of 3 copy max of any cards, right? But essentially you have to make sure that they're within this point value. So essentially the cap is 100, and if you're using 100 points, then you can only use like the 1 copy, right? But then you can't add other cards within the deck that fall on this points list. So if you're making a 100-point deck, it's going to be based off 1 card. And in our example, we're using Royal Oppression later, and I had the Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis AI create that deck, and I thought it was pretty good. Reminds me of a lot of decks that we used to play back in the day. But let's continue with these rules. And deck construction uses the point system. Some cards are assigned point values. Most cards are 0 points. So what that means is, and this is how I like to think about it, this point system is very similar to old school Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime style, where there are rare cards, right? There are like powerful cards, right? But the reason why you don't see them in everybody's deck is just due to some sort of system that's either holding them back. Either it's scarcity or a point system like this. And in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, there was scarcity. Like, remember, there was only 4 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the world. So if there's 4 Blue Eyes White Dragon in the world and one guy has 3, only one person's playing Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon unless they cheated it out. So in that same manner, these cards have these points, and no one's going to be playing Royal Oppression except for the guy who built his whole deck around Royal Oppression. So when I flip over Royal Oppression, it's not like, oh no, it's Royal Oppression, that bad card that everybody hates. It's, oh no, it's Royal Oppression. I haven't seen that card since 2005. Like, it's that kind of effect. So it adds this extra layer of theater to the game, and that I enjoy thoroughly. And this list is it's pretty strong list. It's got like all the broken cards, all the powerful cards listed here. And I do have a different breakdown as to why these cards are listed where they are, and based on how it was, I used the Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS AI to actually break that down. And essentially, we'll have to talk about that. That's its own video. We'll just have to talk about that in another video. But let's hop over to our deck. Let's talk about Royal Oppression. Let's talk about all this new stuff. Now, in our new deck, essentially what we are playing is a standard version of a like stun and control deck, you would think about. But what's interesting about this deck, when you think about the dynamics on how cards can be summoned, you think about powerful cards, for example, like Torrential Tribute. And Torrential Tribute being a card that can destroy multiple cards, and in a format where things have been slowed down considerably, we do need to only really consider, like, you know, starters, extenders, and etc. And combos will be limited. So these different deck types are going to be all based around the point system. So this deck, I asked it to build this deck, and essentially we can only afford one card, Royal Oppression, which is 100 points, which says either player can pay 800 life points to negate special summon of a monsters and the effects that special summon a monsters and destroy those cards. So essentially, while Royal Oppression is up, nobody can special summon. And that means that we are just going in a tit-for-tat, one-for-one type battle, and it's becoming a resource war where we're looking to resource our opponent. So the Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS AI looked at Royal Oppression and built a deck around it. And as you can see, the deck that it built around it uses things like 3 pots of duality, because you can play 3 pots of duality now. But if I'm playing 3 pots of duality, my target is Royal Oppression, right? And what's beautiful about that, in Master Duel, we can actually test this whole system out. So we built the deck thusly. We go up and change the regulation to unlimited. By changing it to unlimited, we can add as many cards as possible per the Genesis rules. And then now we can go over here and draw our sample 5, and you see Kaiku, DD Warrior Lady, Dimensional Fissure, Breaker, and Trap Tricks Remilio, which gets a whole trap added to our hand. And we are gonna go first. So we would probably normal summon, add the bottomless, set the bottomless, activate Dimensional Fissure, and pass. Like, you know, that's pretty busted. Or, you know, vice versa. So draw another 5. 2 Compulses, Pot of Duality, DD Warrior Lady, and Banish of Light. So let's see what this is. So we get Breaker, Breaker, Kaiku. Let's see if we can get to Royal Oppression. So no Royal Oppression. 1, 2, 3. No Royal Oppression. Uh-oh, there it is. 100 points, well worth it. We get Royal Oppression, Spirit Reaper, double pot of duality, and Mermilio. So this is actually a pretty busted hand. It's actually a pretty busted hand. So I encourage you guys to really try these decks out. Play these decks and try out the Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS AI application on OpenAI. It's on ChatGPT's framework. You just use the link in the description, and anyone can use the application right now. So I want you guys to definitely tell me what you think about Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS. Tell me what you think about building decks with Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS, and tell me, you know, what are your ideas, or what type of decks do you want the Yu-Gi-Oh! GENESYS AI to build for you. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'm really excited about this content. I was in the middle of working on my new Invoke deck that I'm actually going to add some branded into it, and I'm getting ready to film that video. And then I also have some other things that I planned on doing, but this thing dropped and I just had to stop, build the application, and then make this video for y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this the application, and I will catch you guys in the next duel.